Thank you for your interest in IBM Copy Services Manager, Flash Copy Manager for Z systems. Hereafter in this video, I will refer to IBM Copy Services Manager, Flash Copy Manager for Z systems as simply CSM FCM or FCM. In this video, I will go over the availability and packaging of CSM FCM and the CSM FCM value propositions, with a short demonstration to show you how easy it is to bring up and start using CSM FCM to manage your flash copy environment. CSM FCM is now available as part of program number 5698 EO1 IBM Copy Services Manager for Z Systems and 5698 EO2 IBM Copy Services Manager Basic Edition for Z Systems, which is the CSM no charge product. CSM FCM is separately installable from the CSM Session Manager, as it has its own FMID and no dependencies on the CSM Session Manager. CSM FCM will provide tools or facilities to assist in the integration of IBM DSAK flash copy services into the ZOS batch production environment. CSM FCM will enable and accelerate this integration by providing software enablement tools to discover, document, and auto-generate flash copy configurations. CSM FCM will build individual batch invocation jobs which will be used to construct complex ZOS job streams that include other applications or software. These jobs will be able to control the entire flash copy process using standard ZOS job scheduling facilities in order to accomplish a required set of business objectives. We will now move to a demonstration of CSM FCM. I will now demonstrate how to configure and run CSM FCM along with a brief explanation of the important configuration datasets and how they are generated through the CSM FCM ISPF panels. CSM FCM is composed of 6 PDSs. Here they are as installed on this system. Go to the SIWN OPTS dataset where you will find these 4 members. Edit the IWN OF MGR member first. This is the member that will be executed to start the ISPF dialog. This member holds several variables that are useful when it comes to defining the flash copy jobs and getting debug trace information. Find this section, Establish Names of SCMGR Datasets. Update the names of the PDSs of the installed CSM FCM. In order to save some time, I will paste the information as to how I accomplish this. For this demonstration, I will also set CSM FCM to allow online secondaries, as I will be using volumes that are online to this system. Look for the section Control Online Offline Requirements for FC Establish and change the FCMGONOF to specify on. This is all we need to do in this data set to do the initial configuration of CSM FCM. So we'll go ahead and exit and save these changes. The other members all contain the sample job card images that will be used when generating the jobs. These jobs will be used to manage and monitor the flash copy relationships and manage the volunteers of the flash copy sources and targets. The IWN-OJOBM and IWN-OJOBS members are identical. The IWN-OJOBM member is meant to be used as a master copy and not intended for modification. The IWN-OJOBS member is meant to be updated with your company-specific job card statements if necessary. Inside each one of these members, you will find that there is a template section for each job for both the new and current configurations. I will explain more as to the use of the new and current configurations a little later. You will find that there's a prologue that explains all of the job names, and here you can see the job card statements for each of the jobs. Update these as necessary. That completes the initial configuration of the Flash Copy Manager. I'll now start the ISPF dialog by executing the IWN OFMGR member. This is the primary panel. Following these steps 1 through 6, we'll build all the configuration datasets and the JCL jobs to manage the Flash Copy configuration. The first thing we must do is designate a high-level qualifier. In this case, we'll be using IBM user. The SC group qualifier is another name used in the naming of the data sets. By changing both the high-level DSN qualifier and the SC group qualifier, you can create multiple configurations to be managed by Flash Copy Manager. For the SC group qualifier, we'll go ahead and use batch 01. The first step we'll do is allocate the data sets. We'll now go to the Allocate Datasets panel. From the File Management panel, you can allocate, delete, and rename data sets. Placement of the data sets can be done either to a volume or using SMS Management and Storage class. In this case, we're going to allocate data sets to a volume. As you can see, CSM FCM is allocating all of the configuration data sets for batch 01. We'll now go back to the primary panel and go to the Setup, Create, and Submit Setup job. This panel generates a job that will go out and discover all of the volumes attached to the system. What we want to do is build the data collection job and use the model job cards that we configured previously. There are two things that you need to be aware of when running this job. The first is the SIWN load library needs to be APF authorized. The second item is that you should expect a return code from the IWN AT03C job. Here's an example. Now that we've completed the build setup jobs process, we'll go back to the primary panel and continue with the next step. The next step is step 3, select source, where we'll select the source volumes for the flash copy relationships. There are 3 ways to designate the source volumes. One is the import of a ISMF data set. Another is designate an SMS storage group. You can specify vol series including wildcards, or you can specify device numbers, including a range of device numbers or a starting device number followed by the number of devices. To get into the selection criteria panel, just simply press enter. In order to save some time, I'm going to paste in some selection criteria. Here you can see that we can designate the ISMF data set, the storage group, which is storage group PRI, all volumes with vol series starting with F7S, and here you can see device number range with FOX60 to FOX63. When you're satisfied with the selection criteria, exit this data. CSM FCM will then go to the device configuration data set and look for the devices that satisfy the criteria. In this case, it has found 17 devices. Pressing enter will bring you into the configuration data set for new source devices. Here you can inspect all the devices that have been selected. If you don't want any of these devices to be used, simply delete the line that contains that device. When you're satisfied, exit this data set. We'll go back to the primary panel and we'll go to step 4, select target. You can use the same target volume selection criteria. Simply press enter. And again, I'll go in and paste in some target volume selection criteria. The selection criteria is the same for the targets. An ISMF data set. Here we're selecting storage group SEC. All volumes with vol series starting 7 Fox Tango, device numbers starting with Fox64 and going for 4 devices. You can also see that we use the same group IDs as we used when we were selecting the source volumes. Again, when you're satisfied with the selection criteria, exit the data set. CSM FCM will go out and use the device configuration data set to select the devices. Here again, it's selected 17 devices. And you can go into the new target devices data set and inspect those devices. Again, if there aren't any that you want to be used as target, just simply delete that line. When you're satisfied, exit this data set. And we'll continue with step 5, which is configuring the source and target volumes. There are 3 ways that you can tell CSM to select the source target volume pairings. First match matches the source and target volumes based on the device hardware characteristics. The VTOC match bases the source and target volume selection based on the VTOC structure, or you yourself can manually choose the source and target volume matching. In this example, we use first match. CSM FCM then goes in and selects the source and target volumes. Here you can see it's selected 17 source, 17 targets, and it's able to define pairs for each one of the volumes. It'll then put you into the new configuration work data set where you can see the source and target volume selection pairings. If you wish to delete any of these pairings, simply delete the line that has the pair you want to delete. If you're satisfied with this data set, exit. You will notice that CSM FCM gives messages indicating the differences between the new configuration and the current configuration. This is an important concept that we'll get to in a minute. Notice here that we had no volumes in the current configuration and we're adding 17 to the new configuration. Now we'll go back to the primary panel and continue with the final step, and that step is to build the flash copy jobs. This FC job creation panel allows you to specify the type of flash copies that will be established. In this example, we'll do a basic flash copy, make it non-persistent, with background copy. We don't care about the target write inhibit or keeping the flash copy offline. The relabel algorithm will just retain the original vol series, so we won't specify any relabel data. Press enter and CSM will build the jobs. We're now done with the configuration of CSM FCM, so we'll get out of the ISPF dialog. Now is a good time to go over some of the most important data sets in CSM FCM. Here you can see the data sets that were created in the first step of the ISPF dialog. You can see that there are two different qualifiers here, the current and the new. The ISPF dialogs, step 3, 4, and 5 took us through filling out the data in the new configuration data sets. ISPF dialog step 2 filled out the data in the device data, RDC, and VTOC data sets. Step 6 created the members in the new jobs dataset. As you can see, CSM FCM is designed to allow the user to work with two different flash copy configurations. The first configuration is referred to as the new configuration. This configuration, as you saw, was implemented using the ISPF panels. The second configuration, referred to as the current configuration. The new configuration is intended to be used for testing any changes that are to be made to the current configuration prior to making those changes in the current configuration. Let us take a look at the jobs that were created in step 6 in the new jobs PDS. I'll quickly go through a description of each one of these jobs. The @sign options job shows you the options that were selected in option 6. The A @withdraw job will withdraw any relationships that are in the current configuration that are not in the new configuration. The B establish job will establish relationships for any of the volumes that are being added in the new configuration. The C verify job verifies the state of the active flash copy relationships. As I mentioned earlier, the D switch job will copy the new configuration to the current configuration. This is to be done when the testing of the new configuration is complete. The Q @status job obtains the status of the flash copy environment, and the S and T ICK-DSF jobs are to relabel the flash copy source and target volumes. The X @getDev job is the same job that was run in step 2 of the ISPF dialogues. You can run the X @getDev job from here instead of going back into the ISPF dialog. The Z establish and Z withdraw will establish and withdraw all of the volumes in the new configuration. Remember, this will include volumes that are in the current configuration, so care must be taken not to affect the current configuration flash copy relationships. I will now demonstrate running the Z establish job, as I want to point out a very important difference between specifying with background copy and no background copy. We'll go ahead and submit this job. See the flash copy Z establish job here, and it's currently running. You notice at the top the query is done and shows the status of the volumes. They were all simplex when we started, and that we've successfully completed the flash copy establish. But let's go down to the bottom. Here are all our volumes, and you can see that we're reporting the progress towards background copy complete. This job will not complete until all of the volumes have completed their background copies, which could take many minutes if not hours. If you can't wait for the background copy to complete, then I recommend that you use no background copy. The status is updated about every minute. Let's go back and make the change to no background copy. We'll go back into the new jobs PDS and we'll issue the withdrawal for those relationships. We'll then go back and start the ISPF dialog. And we'll go directly to Build Jobs and change the background copy to no copy. Here you can see we're getting the jobs built again. We'll exit from here, go back down to the new jobs, and issue the establish again. And you can see that the job is not here, but it has actually completed. Here you can see that the 17 jobs are in flash copy active and there's no background copy mode. That's how easy it is to change the job parameters. I'll go back now and switch the configurations. To do this, we'll simply submit the D@switch job. And we'll go up and look at the jobs in the current jobs PDS. Now you can see that the jobs have been copied up here and they've been copied with a no background copy. There are a couple significant differences between the current jobs and the new jobs PDS. The major difference here is the $$ freeze. This job is an establish of all of the volumes in the current configuration with the freeze option, which means all of the volumes will be flash copied at a consistent point in time. If by chance that you decided to do no background copy, you can also initiate background copy by specifying the $NB2 copy job. The rest of the jobs are the same as found in the new jobs dataset. We will go ahead and submit the B freeze job. Before issuing the B $freeze job, we will go and terminate the relationships that we established just a minute ago. And now we can issue the new establish with the freeze option. And let's go take a look at the job. There's additional information when you do the establish with freeze. It shows the I/O delay caused by the freeze and consistency group created process. This will conclude the demonstration of CSM FCM. In about 15 minutes, you have learned how easy it is to set up CSM FCM and start running jobs. Once again, thank you for your interest in IBM Copy Services Manager Flash Copy Manager for ZOS.